Let me tell you something that might sting a little, but you need to hear it. Some people will only value you when you stop showing up. Yeah, let that sit for a second. You keep pouring. You keep answering every text. You show up when you're exhausted. You say yes when your soul is screaming no, and they barely notice. Or worse, they expect it. They expect you to keep showing up no matter how empty you are. But what if I told you sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is disappear? Not forever, not in some dramatic burning bridges kind of way, but in a way that says, I'm done overgiving, I'm done shrinking, I'm done proving. Let them feel your absence. Let them wonder where your energy went. Let them notice the silence after all the noise you used to make in their lives. Because here's the truth. When you stop showing up, the ones who never deserved you will stop pretending. And the ones who truly see you, they'll start showing up for you. That's the power of boundaries. That's the power of self-respect. That's the power of your absence. A few years ago, I hit my emotional rock bottom. You ever been there? Not the Instagram version of burnout, not the cute, I'm so busy hustle culture nonsense. I mean real exhaustion, the kind where your chest is heavy every morning. The kind where you cry in the shower so no one hears, the kind where your smile feels like a performance, and your I'm fine is code for I'm dying inside. I was there. I was doing everything for everyone. The dependable one, the strong one, the one who shows up no matter what. But one night I was driving home after helping a friend move. I hadn't eaten all day. My phone was blowing up with work stuff, family stuff, more people needing more pieces of me. And suddenly I had this thought. What if I just kept driving? Not in a reckless, dramatic way, but in a freeing way. What if I just kept going and didn't answer any of it? And in that moment, I realized I was exhausted, not just because I was doing too much, but because I was doing too much for people who wouldn't even notice if I stopped. That night I went home. I turned off my phone. I didn't answer texts. I didn't check in. I didn't post. I didn't explain. And you know what happened? The people who only called when they needed something? Silence. The ones who used to expect me to rescue them? Silence. But the ones who cared about me, they showed up. They checked in. They noticed. And that's when I learned the hardest lesson I've ever had to learn. Not everyone deserves access to you. That season of silence was the loudest clarity I'd ever experienced. It was uncomfortable at first. The guilt, the overthinking, the fear that people would think I was rude, selfish, distant, but I sat in it. I didn't run from the silence. I listened to it. And in that silence, I heard something I hadn't heard in years, myself. I heard my own needs, my dreams, my limits. I realized how many of my yeses had been betrayals of my own boundaries. How many times I'd abandoned myself just to keep others comfortable. And I started asking some real questions. Why do I feel like I have to earn love by overfunctioning? Why do I fear disappointing others more than I fear disappointing myself? Why do I feel guilty when I choose rest over rescue? These questions cracked me open. And through that opening, light came in. I started reclaiming my time. I stopped apologizing for needing space. I let the phone ring. I let the text go unanswered. I let the discomfort come. And guess what? I didn't die. The world didn't end, but something did end. My addiction to being needed. Because needing to be needed is a prison. And letting others feel your absence, that's the key. So here's the framework I want you to remember. I call it the absence principle. A, awareness. You have to recognize where your energy is leaking. Who are the people, places, or patterns draining you? What does your soul whisper when the noise dies down? B, boundaries. This isn't about building walls. It's about creating gates. Not everyone should have 24/7 access to you. Your time, energy, and peace are sacred. S, silence. Sometimes you don't need to explain. You don't need a monologue. Just go quiet. Let your absence speak louder than your words ever could. E, evaluate. Who notices your silence? Who respects it? Who guilt trips you? Pay attention. N, nurture. Use the space you create to heal, to rest, to rediscover the parts of you that got lost in the noise of obligation. C, clarity. Distance brings perspective. You'll begin to see who truly adds to your life and who only takes. E, empowerment. When you return, do it from a place of power, not pressure. Show up because you choose to, not because you have to. Let them feel your absence. And in that space, find your presence again. You want proof this works? You want to know if pulling back, creating space, letting your silence speak louder than your presence actually changes things? Let me tell you about Maria. Maria was a single mom of two. Her days started before the sun and ended long after it dipped below the horizon. She worked one job during the day and another at night. She was helping her sister pay rent, driving across town to babysit her niece on weekends, holding her friend's hand through yet another breakup. She was the emergency contact, the midnight therapist, the rock-steady, dependable, always there. But Maria was running on fumes. One night, she sat in her car outside her apartment, hands on the steering wheel, too exhausted to move. The only sound was the hum of the engine and the quiet ache in her bones. That night, she made a decision. She followed the absence principle. She stopped replying to every group text. She muted the people who only called when they needed. She let her sister figure out her own rent. She told her kids, I love you, but mommy needs rest. And she took time. She took a full 2 weeks off. No apologies, no explanations, no guilt. You know what happened? Her kids, those beautiful little humans, started leaning into her love with more intention. They hugged her longer, talked to her more. They missed her presence because they finally realized how much it meant. Her sister, she didn't collapse. She figured it out. Got a side gig. Learned she could stand on her own. Learned what she was capable of when Maria wasn't rushing in to fix everything. And her friends, the ones who vanished when she stopped being available, they were never really friends to begin with. But the real ones showed up with groceries, with texts like, I see you, I've got you, you're not alone. Because when you create space, truth rises to the surface. Want another one? Let me introduce you to James. James was the guy at work who always said yes. Stay late? Yes. Fix someone else's project? Yes. Cover for your coworker who ghosted a client? Sure. James was the unofficial office doormat, reliable to the point of self-destruction. He thought it made him valuable until one day he broke. Not loudly, not dramatically. He just stopped. Stopped responding to after-hours emails, stopped volunteering for projects that weren't his. He took his vacation time and didn't check his inbox once. His boss? Furious. At first, but then something interesting happened. They hired another person to take the pressure off. They realized James was doing the work of 3 people, and instead of punishing him, they promoted him because they finally saw what he brought to the table. Not because he burned out for them, but because he showed them he had boundaries. Because absence forces people to reevaluate your worth. Not your obedience, not your compliance, your worth. It draws a line in the sand and says, this is where I begin, and this is where I end. And I know this sounds scary. You might be thinking, well, that worked for Maria and for James, but me? Let me tell you about Kiara or Daryl or Tony, real people who did one small thing. They stopped being the emotional dumpster for everyone else. They let themselves become unavailable not to punish, but to protect, and the people in their lives adjusted. Some left, some shifted, but every single one of them became more aligned, more powerful, more whole. When you step back, 2 things happen. 1, you get to breathe again. Two, the people around you finally have to decide who they are without leaning on you like a crutch. This isn't a punishment, it's a reset. Let them feel the shift in the air when you're no longer carrying what's not yours. Because every time you remove yourself from what drains you, you make space for what feeds you. That's not selfish. That's sacred. Let me guess what you're thinking right now. You're scared. You're scared to let go, scared to step back, scared they'll leave, that you'll lose the job, the friends, the relationships, that you'll be forgotten. That if you're not constantly available, you'll stop mattering. I know that fear intimately. It whispers, if you disappear, they won't come looking. But hear me clearly. If your presence is only appreciated when it comes without boundaries, that's not love. That's dependency. And there's a massive difference between someone loving you and someone needing you to stay broken so they can function. Real love, it respects your rest. Real connection, it honors your silence. Real friends, they don't disappear when you ask for space. They lean in, they support, they hold space for your humanity. And the ones who don't, let them go. Because people who disappear when you prioritize your well-being were never holding you. They were holding on to what you were giving. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are not rude for setting limits. You are not broken because you're tired. You're human. And humans are not built to serve endlessly. We are not designed to carry the weight of 10 other lives while neglecting our own. We have nervous systems that crash, hearts that ache, souls that wither under constant obligation. You've been bending too far for too long. And I'm here to tell you, it's okay to stop bending. You will not shatter if you let go. You will not break if you say, I can't today. In fact, you will begin to heal. You deserve people who don't just take from you but pour into you. People who don't just lean on you but lift you. And if they don't exist in your current circle, good. Because now you know. Now you can go build a new one. Do not let the fear of being alone keep you in rooms where you're already emotionally abandoned. Sometimes the most powerful healing doesn't come from someone holding you. It comes from you holding yourself. You deserve your own presence more than they deserve your constant availability. Let that sink in. Let them feel your absence. Let them feel the shift when your name isn't there to fix their chaos. Let them scroll through their phones and realize they have no idea what you're doing. Because for once, it's not about them. Let them feel that pause, that silence. Let them feel the gravity of the space you used to fill. Let them feel the void they didn't even know you were holding back for them, the emotional labor, the caretaking, the sacrificing. Let them feel it all. And while they're sitting in that echo, you feel this. Feel your lungs expand again. Feel your laughter return without guilt. Feel the silence in your soul start to hum with possibility. Feel what it's like to be whole, to be grounded, to be seen not by them, but by you. Because this is not a punishment. This is a homecoming. You weren't born to be a utility. You were born to be a force. You weren't put here to be everyone's plan B, therapist, cheerleader, savior, crutch. You were put here to be free, to feel deeply, to move with purpose, to rest when you need, to speak when you're ready. This is your rebirth. Not loud, not chaotic, not angry, but steady, intentional, sacred. Let them feel your absence. So you can feel your presence. Let them question who they are without your constant affirmations. Let them wonder how they ever took you for granted. Let them come to terms with the fact that you were never just there. You were a gift, a force, a miracle. And you still are. Let them feel it so you can finally feel you. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, take out your phone, go to your contacts, your messages, your inbox. Find the people who only reach out when they need something, the ones who never ask how you're doing, the ones who drain more than they pour. And for the next 48 hours, don't respond. Don't explain. Don't justify. Don't apologize. Just be silent. Let the silence speak. Let the lack of your energy teach them what your presence has always meant. And while you're not responding, respond to yourself. Check in with you. Sit in your own energy. Journal. Meditate. Cry if you need to. Laugh if it bubbles up. Dance around your living room. Take a walk. Feel the sun. Feel your breath. Reconnect. Ask yourself, what do I need? Not what do they need? Not what do I owe? But what do I need? Then meet your own needs like you've met theirs for years. Because your worth has never been measured by how much you give. It's in how deeply you know yourself. And you cannot know yourself if you are constantly abandoning yourself to be there for everyone else. Let them feel your absence. So you can reclaim your power. Let them feel your absence. So you can feel your truth. Let them feel your absence. So you can finally return to yourself. Thank you.